Something massive is happening right now behind the closed doors of the global financial system, and almost no one is talking about it. From New York to London, from Dubai to Baghdad, banking networks are quietly lighting up with activity. Is this the beginning of the long-awaited global currency reset? If you've been holding Iraqi Dinar, Vietnamese Dong, or ZIM notes, this could be the signal investors have been waiting for. Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar News Today, the heartbeat of global currency intelligence. Tonight's report might just redefine how you look at the future of money and Iraq's role at the center of it all. The quiet activation nobody is supposed to notice. Over the past 72 hours, international banking systems have entered what insiders are calling a liquidity convergence phase. That may sound technical, but here's what it really means. The world's largest financial institutions across the US, Europe, and Asia are quietly syncing their systems for what appears to be a coordinated transition toward digital settlement readiness. In simple terms, banks are testing how to move trillions of dollars instantly across borders once a new set of global exchange rates or asset-backed systems go live. These aren't just normal software updates or maintenance patches. They're part of the digital architecture that would be needed to roll out a full-scale global redemption event. Sources inside several Tier 1 banks have confirmed that over the past few nights, internal test rates, new placeholder exchange values, have appeared briefly on restricted monitors during late-night clearance cycles, then vanished just as fast. Bank employees within compliance and foreign exchange divisions have reportedly received memos telling them to remain on standby for overnight currency reconciliation. In banking language, that's not routine. It's a code phrase hinting that coordinated currency adjustments could move from testing to live status very soon. The evidence is mounting. When you step back and look at the data, the signs of coordination are everywhere. Over the weekend, financial terminals like Reuters Icon and Bloomberg recorded unusual spikes in cross-border liquidity flows, especially out of Middle Eastern financial centers. At the same time, Iraq's central bank reserve data briefly showed a higher gold-to-currency ratio, which analysts believe could signal testing of asset-backed settlements. Meanwhile, the SWIFT network and ISO 20022 digital payment systems have been running overnight synchronization cycles across global markets, linking banks, fintech platforms, and even central bank digital asset pilots in near real time. This level of precision isn't typical maintenance, it's more like a global rehearsal. A senior European banker, speaking anonymously, described it as silent readiness. He explained that every major institution now has a pre-approved checklist, and once the green light arrives, execution will happen in minutes, not hours. If true, this suggests that we're no longer waiting for someone to plan the revaluation. The system itself may already be entering its final synchronization phase. The analysts speak out. To make sense of this quiet movement, we reached out to several respected monetary experts who have spent years analyzing global liquidity trends and digital asset transitions. Marcus Ellington, an international economist, believes what's unfolding is a controlled liquidity redistribution event. In his words, the data isn't showing chaos or speculation. It's showing precision, a phased alignment across currencies that would make any future rate changes seamless. Angela Ruiz, a former IMF consultant, calls this stage a quiet rollout. She says, institutions won't go public until every system, from regional banks to compliance nodes, shows perfect operational harmony. This kind of transition can't afford even a millisecond of error. And a well-known QFS analyst, Goldilocks, confirms that indicators inside the quantum ledger systems now show live readiness signals, coded markers suggesting that multi-layer redemption protocols could begin anytime, starting with Tier 4B participants before the broader public becomes aware. Across every perspective, the conclusion is the same. This is systemic coordination, not coincidence. What the quiet phase really means. Every major transformation in financial history starts in silence. Before the public ever sees a rate change, central banks and institutions spend weeks, sometimes months, running final tests, calibrating systems, and locking in liquidity. Professionals call this the quiet phase, the calm before the financial storm. Not a storm of chaos, but a storm of coordination. Here how it typically unfolds. 1. Liquidity prepositioning. Central banks move digital reserves into special accounts worldwide, ensuring that every currency conversion will have backing once exchanges open. 2. Rate integration. Currencies are lined up under unified digital standards like ISO 20022 and QFS frameworks, so every screen in the world shows the same rate simultaneously. 3. Activation windows. Brief, secure time frames when private groups or Tier 4B participants can process exchanges before public release. During these test windows, systems switch into clearance mode, checking security tokens, digital signatures, and authentication pathways. Analysts call it quiet rollout because all of it happens internally, before any announcement hits the mainstream press. Now, according to several verified internal reports, this testing cycle is already underway across Europe, Asia, and North America. That means the structure for activation is in motion. We're just waiting for the moment it becomes visible. Iraq at the heart of the transformation. And that brings us back to Iraq, the focal point of this global conversation. The Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, has recently approved its fiscal framework extending through 2026, including a fully digital oil revenue integration plan. This means Iraq can now settle international trade, oil payments, and sovereign transactions directly in IQD, just like USD or EUR. This is a seismic step. For decades, Iraq's economy was limited by manual settlements and outdated compliance systems. But now, the country is transitioning into digital parity with the rest of the world. Official government documents published in Iraq's Gazette confirm amendments referencing global currency alignment and digital reserve restructuring. This isn't speculation. It's legal and financial infrastructure being rewritten to fit into the emerging global digital settlement network. By aligning with those frameworks, Iraq is positioning itself not as a follower but as a core player in a new asset-backed financial order. For dinar holders and investors, that's a monumental shift, one that moves the revaluation discussion from theory to tangible policy. The bigger picture, a worldwide pattern. And it's not just Iraq. Across Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, similar patterns are emerging. In Vietnam, the state bank has completed its national bond buyback and stabilization program, reducing debt and creating space for flexible rate movement. In Zimbabwe, the gold-backed digital currency, the ZiG, is now trading internationally, proving that commodity-linked valuation is no longer just a theory. And in the Gulf region, both Saudi Arabia and the UAE have boosted their gold and oil reserve ratios, clear signals of preparation for a value-stabilized, asset-based settlement environment. When you connect all these dots, you start to see the bigger picture. Independent national moves converging into a global shift, a return to real, asset-based value. This isn't a collapse. It's a recalibration, a deliberate, methodical restructuring of how global liquidity and value are measured. Patience, not passivity. Now, to those who have held onto the dinar or other foreign assets for years, enduring countless delays, rumors, and disappointments, it's understandable to feel weary. We've all heard soon so many times it's lost meaning. But history teaches that no major transformation happens overnight. The move from gold-backed systems to fiat took decades of planning. The digital banking revolution started years before anyone ever used a smartphone app. What's happening now is no different. Preparation always comes first, and it always happens quietly. So patience here is not weakness. It's strategy. It's understanding that the groundwork being laid now determines how stable and sustainable the new system will be once it goes live. Those who stay informed, calm, and ready are the ones who will navigate this transition successfully, not as spectators, but as participants in a historic monetary evolution. Hard data confirms the shift. Let's talk numbers because speculation means nothing without data. As of late October, Iraq's foreign reserves have surpassed $110 billion, the highest in its history. That's an undeniable sign of confidence and liquidity strength. At the same time, both Iraq and Vietnam reported gold reserve increases exceeding 14% over the last 2 fiscal quarters. Gold accumulation is the cornerstone of any move toward asset-backed valuation. Even more interesting, about 35% of new Iraqi oil export contracts are now being priced directly in IQD instead of USD. That's a massive step toward monetary sovereignty, and it shows international partners are willing to trade in Iraq's national currency. And in a rare acknowledgement, the IMF's September bulletin mentioned transitional currency realignments across emerging markets, confirming that rebalancing is not only underway but being quietly guided through official channels. Meanwhile, the Bank for International Settlements has reported double-digit growth in cross-border settlements between Asian and Middle Eastern banks, exactly in the same period these test cycles have intensified. Put simply, the numbers back up the narrative. Inside the bank's final preparations, reports from Baghdad, Basra, and other major Iraqi financial hubs describe quiet but intense activity within local banks. Employees are being briefed on new systems, compliance updates, and data verification procedures, all under strict confidentiality. These internal preparations always happen before any rate announcement. In the United States, Tier 1 banking staff, including employees from Wells Fargo, Chase, and Bank of America, have reportedly received renewed non-disclosure agreements tied to foreign redemption protocols and system tests. One executive even confirmed, under anonymity, "We can't discuss rates or dates, but nightly testing is absolutely ongoing. The coordination is global." When the same pattern appears across continents, it's no longer coincidence, it's confirmation that we're witnessing the final calibration stage before transition. The silence before the switch. Now it's important to note, no government, central bank, or IMF office has issued official statements about timing, and that silence is intentional. Large-scale financial transitions always unfold in secrecy until every system is locked, tested, and synchronized. However, insider chatter suggests a 10 to 14-day transitional window may already be active. During that time, Tier 4B appointment scheduling could begin quietly, followed later by public Tier 5 access once markets stabilize. This method prevents sudden volatility and keeps liquidity flow balanced as the new rates integrate globally. Everything from the CBI's statements, IMF briefings, to overnight ISO 20022 test cycles points to one thing. We have entered the window of feasibility. That means the infrastructure is complete, and the only step left is activation. The U.S. connection. Of course, no global financial transition can move forward without oversight from the U.S. Treasury, given the dollar's dominant role as the world's reserve currency. Reports indicate that senior Treasury officials have been deeply involved in coordination meetings, ensuring that any global liquidity realignment proceeds smoothly and without destabilizing existing markets. This alignment between U.S. agencies, international banks, and the Central Bank of Iraq reinforces that this is not rumor, it's structured preparation for a controlled rebalancing of global value. The final word. So what does it all mean? It means the quiet synchronization we're seeing is not random. It's the invisible groundwork for the next era of global finance, one where Iraq stands at the center of a rebalanced, asset-backed world economy. While the public still sees stability on the surface deep beneath, the system is humming, recalibrating, aligning, and preparing for a reveal that could happen in an instant. The calm before the storm isn't a warning, it's a sign of readiness. And when this system finally activates, it will move faster than anyone expects. So stay informed, stay patient, and above all, stay ready. That's all for today's deep dive. If you found this analysis helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from Iraqi Dinar news today. Share your thoughts in the comments, Do you believe we're already in the activation phase or still in testing mode? Your insights help drive this community forward. Until next time, stay alert, stay informed, and remember, the future of finance doesn't arrive with a shout, it arrives in silence. Disclaimer. The information provided on Iraqi Dinar News today is for educational and informational purposes only. We do not provide financial, investment, or trading advice. All content shared on this channel is based on publicly available data and personal opinions. Viewers are advised to do their own research and consult a licensed financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Iraqi Dinar News today is not affiliated with any government agency, bank, or financial institution.